everybody to Dragon Tail Books. I'm Ann Vogel, and I want to thank Mary Lang Sollinger for coming to kick off our short 3-part primary election series. And so she's going to give us a look behind the scenes of the political campaign. So she's author, fundraiser, and she's documented a lot in her book, her award-winning book. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for we're taping this, is that right?
Yep. So
Okay,
you
that
are
sounds great.
live.
So,
There may be someone watching. There's a one. So
what Zoom?
nope, it's a YouTube live stream, so they can chat.
They can ask a question too.
So they can chat if they want to ask. Yeah.
Oh, is it a great to live in this technical world?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm going to start a little bit different way. Because a lot of the questions that are asked me, why did I write the book and when and all those other things. And I'm going to go back just a little bit. I want to start off by saying I thought I would never be a Democrat. I live in Madison, Wisconsin. It's pretty democratic there. But I was doing, my husband and I were doing fundraisers for people we respected. We did our homework on them. Russ Feingold actually announced this just set up race at my house, which I didn't know what an important person was at the time. I knew that the governor was our governor was Tommy Thompson, and I had done a fundraiser for his wife Suanne, 2 of them actually. I think a lot of Suanne. So my father was Republican, and I'm from a very small town, much smaller than Menominee. It's about 1,000 people. So I'm very sympathetic with small towns. It's one of the reasons why I'm here too, because too many times people forget about small towns, and I feel your pain sometimes because every vote counts. It's on my person. I've been doing a lot of knocking, and I'll get into that. So the reason I should probably go back just a little bit to, I did run for mayor of Madison as nonpartisan. It was because of my community work, and it was a fundraiser for a couple of projects. Blue Militaires was one of them, and did a lot of volunteer. And I had a store on State Street, which was from a term paper from a 2-year college. I never went to college actually. I was from a family of 5 people, and I was a stubborn stammerer when I was in high school. And I found very fast that when people judge you how you look and how you speak. And out of the 5 kids, no one ever came to me for teaching or for post-school education. So, and again, when President Biden started his presidency and was so vocal, people really started commenting on his speech, and I would jump in there a couple years back and say, you know, I understand this, and this is why he's doing what he's doing, going off script so many times. So, and I got to meet him quite a few times. I did go to the White House quite a bit with the president, past presidents. But the reason I wrote this book is because the book is really about you folks. It's about the people who bring the candidate over the finish line. I'm a fundraiser, and when I started, and I got the call from the Obama people, it was because I was doing these fundraisers for people we believed in. Russ Feingold was one of them. So quite a few of the mayors and public projects like the Community Center and Blue Militaires fundraiser for $1 million for community. If you ever go up there, you see these little blocks of people's names. That was all done by volunteers. And everybody told me that I couldn't do it with volunteers. It was a basis of 12 people. None had gray hair. Should I speak louder? Okay.
It's an online set.
Yeah, my voice is very, thank you, but my voice is very low, and I'll talk, if I'm talking too fast, give me the sign of some sort. But so I was fairly visible in the community because of the store and these other community projects. So the call came on a day that my husband was got lost, and it was a bike ride, and the call came at 4 o'clock, and it was, he now is the Chamber of Commerce president, but at the time he also had a store in the State Street area, and we were partners in some of the organizations. And he said, Mary, I'd like to have you consider having a fundraiser. And I said, you know, Zach, I think you should call Sally, because I'm still on the fence with Hillary. All my girlfriends want me to do Hillary, but I read Dreams of My Father. And when I read that book, for some reason, it went to my heart. And I was really touched by it. again, someone who had things against single mom,
Mhm.
lucky to be born in Hawaii, actually. So he said, no, you don't understand, we need a big house. And at the time, I was living in a big house, 12 blocks from the square, now they can go. And I said, and he said, well, we have to bring in $140,000. And this is October. Well, this was in September, last week in September of '07.
So you were talking to a representative of Barack Obama. Is that what you were
Well,
telling us?
he was from Madison, but he was a big Democrat. And he was
Statewide.
connected, yeah. No, not statewide, he was from Ohio. But he was in the Democratic Party like big time in Ohio, came to Madison, got involved with the Democratic Party right away. And he's a big talker, he's a really good, very sympathetic guy. And he said, no, you don't understand here, we need a big house, and we have to bring $140,000. And I said, excuse me? And I thought, I never did this before. And there were 3 women at the house, and they said, Mary, we'll do anything. They heard the conversation. And you got to do this for Barack Obama. So I was sitting with them. I told my husband, and Zach said, I need to know, this is 4 o'clock, 4:30. And then he said, I need to know by 8 o'clock, Mary. I have to have your question. So I got to talk to Hans. So Hans got lost. He comes in at 25 to 8. And my girlfriends, I said, you got to do it. We'll do anything. Because they were so sold on it. And by that time, I got pretty sold on it. So my husband came in, it was 20 to 8, and he said, no, I said, no, it's not for Hillary, it's for Barack Obama. And he kind of looked at me and he said, oh, okay. So I got on the phone. I know that was, simple things, right? Thank God. But I called Zach back, and this was only, we had 2.5 weeks to get this money going away of making the money, right? So Zach had a plan. He said, we're going to do a rally, and there were only 4 of us, by the way. And so Zach was there, another fellow by the name of Henry Sanders, and the college president for Obama at the university, and myself. And they knew I had these big parties and everything. So I said, okay. He said, Mary, can you do $70,000? And I think we're going to do a big rally. We're going to charge us number. What they had, because he was all the numbers down. So, oh my God. So what does that? What does that mean? He said, well, I got him down. Chicago campaign. So how much the $500 to tip? I said, excuse me. And $1,000 for a photo album. So my passion for the book and listening to my girlfriends and knowing that my other good girlfriends would be pretty mad at me for not supporting Hillary. I had 5 reasons. Well, I was just defending myself. And why I was going to Barack Obama. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do it. And there was something in me. I think we all are here for a purpose. And for some reason, just the purpose of working for volunteers, making a difference, being in kind of the eight ball. Don't do this way. What we're going to do as volunteers, we brought in $1 million. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But I have a lot of faith in the purpose. My father grew up like that. And he instilled that in me. So, I said, okay, we're going to do it. So I spent, don't ever do a fundraiser on Mondays, by the way. There's in the book, there's fundraisers. There's 8 ideas that go from $60,000 to $1,200. And that's fun because the first one was happening in Wyoming, and that's how this all got started by one man, the head of the Wyoming County, wanting me to bring Obama to Wyoming. And it's like, I don't think so.
I don't think he's going to want to go.
No, pardon me?
No, go ahead.
But I'll tell you about it. So a little bit later. But the power of one person, I believe in that, and that's what our country is made of. Anybody sees how the Western movies and and how we elect people. I was just talking to a friend of mine in Germany, and the reason why we have this great system is because our country is built on the power of one person, of the individual. If you think about who we are, what we were, and how we are still in existence. It's still an experiment. 258 years old, that's all we are. When you go to Germany and other places, they have out 2,000 years. And they have a lot of 2 world wars people have gone through in Europe. A lot of our ancestors went through 2 world wars. So that my husband's German, and we went there a lot of years. So the more I got to travel and go back to another country, the more I valued my country. Because again, ordinary people like you and I can make a difference, and we do make a difference. So with that passion, and my father was in World War III and was in the front lines and was a captain, and captains have battalions. And my husband, at first being European, had a hard time that wasn't earning any money. And I said, no, Hans, I'm doing this because it's my turn. My father took this risk. And this was the time when we were still in Iraq. George Bush stood on the aircraft carrier with the uniform on and wowed my family immensely and said, mission impossible. We had a government that was lying to us. And at that time, I didn't experience that. And for my father to not put out any more Republican signs in our front lawn, really, I still get goosebumps when I share this with you. I knew how much that hurt him, so I felt that we got to go into a whole new world, a whole new generation, a new hope. And so, fast forward, I never worked so hard in my life, 12 hours a day, explaining why I'm not, supporting Hillary, never saying anything bad about her. Excuse me. And it all worked just fine. I brought in over $70,000, and the rallies brought in $70,000. But at the time, a couple people said this year was fundraising, and they said, Mary, what happens if you didn't make it? I said, I didn't look that way. I just said, we can do this. We can do this. Mm-hmm. And I did see him on TV, and there was something before this call, and I saw this young black man jump off of a hayley. And when he jumped off, there were this family who's my people, farmers. They touched him and they hugged him, and I was thinking, they don't do that, to me. What did this man have? So that was another catalyst, that there was something special in the New York Times, the Sunday Times. I read his name, couldn't pronounce his name. Many times when I was on the campaign for the fundraising, I wish he would say, keep his name Barry Obama, because that was easy to say. Barack was like, ah. And even what's misspelled his name and mispronounced his name, yeah. So there were these little hiccups, but again, when you know that you're in the right place at the right time and doing the right thing, and I've seen this happen with, again, the volunteers at volunteers, at community centers, the energy that you get off of each other, you really do make the best. It's really incredible. So with that belief, and then after that happened, Dr. Zorba, do you remember Dr. Zorba at all on public radio?
Love Dr. Zorba.
Yeah. Well, this again, you always, failure is not trying. I've always told my kids, failure is not trying. And so I knew he was coming to a fundraiser with Doyle, and it was actually for Obama. And I thought, I saw his name on the list, and so I thought I should go and find him. I didn't really look like anything. And here he was holding court in the kitchen. So I waited till everybody dropped off.
This show is all about the recipe at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Because I had this gentleman from Wyomega who was a patient of my husband, who had a leg amputee, was half blind, didn't have a long time to live, actually. And in the 11 o'clock at night, I was still on my computer, I got this long email, and it went on and on. Please have, because he read the story that Obama was at our house in the Milwaukee Journal. And I thought, I can't say no to that. I talked to House the next day, I said, you told me just what I told you. I said, oh my God, I gotta do this. Do something. And so my brother's from Opac, and I called up my brother, I said, Ron, do you know Dr. Zorba? Going on? And I said, there's a possibility maybe I can get him to come to Opac and talk to this fellow in my league. He said, oh my God, that'd be great. It's like, forget about Obama, we want Dr. Zorba.
Yeah.
Like, what the? And so I talked to Zorba, and he said, let me check my contract. He said, I want to do something special for Obama. There's something about him that we need him at this time of our history in America. So 2 days later, I got a call from John on my telephone. I said, John, I can't talk. I was at the fundraiser yet. I was in the basement steps. But this is what I'm working on. I can't make any promises, but I'll call you probably 2 or 3 days. He's got to check his contract. Everything was fine. So on the most snowy, ugly day in February, which was Valentine's, it was Zorba's anniversary, and Penny, his wife, came to pick the dog, and we had a blizzard. But we got to Alpaca, and it was crazy. you would think somebody said, thank God you're here, anything, no. We opened up the door and said, oh, you're finally here. Okay. Yeah, we are. So it's nice to have a sunny day here. And and so we did, there were 35 people in the room. Zorba had a book already, so Zorba with the $35 can sign books and we just give them away. And he did. And John walked out of there with the best and strongest fundraiser that Wyoming County ever had. He was so nervous because the days before he wasn't happening, but the restaurant, Fat Gretchen's in Wapaka.
Oh, that's great.
Isn't it a great name? Yeah.
Oh,
And Bonnie Miller was, and she put a sign out, and she had, and the room was filled during this blizzard.
mhm.
So, and we had to go back that night because no one, I said, well, maybe one is no one,
Right.
any room, not a room here.
There's
Okay,
no-
thanks a lot. So, but that's how this book got started. One person who deserved to have a break, and who had passion, who just, and I knew he emailed me every day, you know, and I thought, I'm working on it. So that led to 12 fundraisers throughout the state in 14 months. And again, this was October. So it started, I knocked on doors in Dubuque when we won, standing in 3 below zero temperature and knocking on doors. And it was such a wonderful moment to be there because we weren't supposed to win. Hillary was all over the board, right? And Biden was still in the race yet, and there were like 2 other people I can't remember. And just another behind the scenes thing. So we were all crying and everything, and I can't believe this. He loses in New Hampshire. But we're driving back, and a friend of mine who was really mad at me, I didn't take the Hillary story. She called me up, she must have been drinking, she said, I can't believe that the guy remembered to get babysitters for the caucuses, and the woman who's a mother forgot to get get babysitters because it was so cold. People did not want to leave their houses, and I was changing diapers that night on the election night in the baby room when they were doing all the caucusing. So nothing was too big or too little for us to do. Yeah.
Wow.
For the mothers too.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the other thing too, when we walked into the view, there was a wall, pretty much this size, and the size of this bookcase, right? These 2 bookcases, probably 3 bookcases.
Mhm.
REI. I'm thinking, what are they doing for the store? This is crazy. And it was a couple hundred letters that were written to us, to Dubuque, and volunteers saying, we're behind you, we're saying our prayers, we're hoping the best for you. And it was a people connect. And when people came into that office, they were asked, what can you do for the campaign? Not for saying, at least, we need somebody to make our cause. And you would say, well, I'm not too good in the cause. But that's what we need. And they would say, but you need it. So it was this huge amount of respect for the volunteers. And that was part of what my successes. And when somebody came in, even though they had gray hair, we had old computers, used computers, and somebody donated a plan for the militaries, all 11,000 squares with people's names on it. I did the same thing. I said, well, do you think you can learn the computer? Oh, I don't know, man, I'll try. Or, and so I never turned them away. Because everybody has value, everybody has a purpose. And this is their purpose. You want to give them that opportunity to succeed. Right?
Mhm.
So, fast forward, it was quite a ride. In March, I got a call saying, you want to be on the National Finance Committee. I had no idea what that was. And I said, Michael, my family's going on a ski vacation. I can't come. And he got real quiet. He said, Maurice, National Finance Committee. I said, I'm so sorry, but my family, they haven't seen me for 3 weeks or 3 months. So I went to the April one, and I couldn't believe, I know I got upset with this with Indianapolis, and we were working in Indianapolis and we were doing nothing indoors. But I walked into this beautiful art center, people in beautiful clothes. I didn't know anybody, but people were kind. Democrats are always kind, very friendly people. As I told Kevin, if I judge something, I judge, but I know that if I'd much rather be in a Titanic with Democrats on rather than Republicans. It's kind of a joke, but people get it. And, yeah, because I have some friends who are Republicans and Independents, so they kind of chuckle. But so I went there, and they were so kind. They said, I told them, I said, I thought I would never be a Democrat. I didn't like the attitude of Democrats in Wisconsin, self-righteous and everything. And they all chuckle at this thing, and instead of, kids staying away from anything, they said, that's the greatest thing about Obama, because he attracts new people and people who care. And to hear that from an anonymous person, and they were just so kind, and they talk about Obama brings the angels out of us, and that's another example of that. One of the questions as well is why I wrote this book and I wrote this in 2019. I've never written a book before. I've never went to college before, right? But I saw that the REI, respect, empower, and include, their action words. It's not the diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are nouns. I tease people. I actually started a group at our symphony or a committee at something. I said, can you change this to action word? Okay. But respect, empower, and include are action words. And you can't have respect unless you give respect. And that's one of the things I learned from Obama. Okay. And when you empower people, you empower them with talking on positive words. You don't say, at least, I'm picking on you, at least you can't do this. Okay, you say, at least this is what you can do. Okay? And he never, I was trying to recall, why were people so enchanted? Why were people so gravitated towards Obama? Because he was not supposed to win. I wanted to really, because he was such a good job. This was after the election, of course. But he was not supposed to win. He was black. The black people didn't like him, that he wasn't black enough. And that meant he didn't go through the Jim Crow story and their ancestor story. He didn't have any money. He wasn't from a rich family. He was a junior senator, didn't do a doggone thing yet, right? He couldn't brag about anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he, what else was, well, the education was good, but he was a pretty shy guy. I mean, that sounds a little crazy, but he's a pretty shy man. And when I have to explain maybe some of this. I'm going to go back a little bit to the first day of the election, and I'm going to explain the cover, show it to us right away. But this cover is in my house. There's some pictures in here, you can see a little more. But it's in my house, and he also took questions, and that's very important. And they said, and I asked them, it's going to take, he always takes 3 questions at least. But there was a black woman who snuck in my front door because I had 145 people in my living room. And we had kind of open balcony, old-fashioned, there's a new house, but the open balcony so we could fit everybody in. And he saw her coming in. She snuck in the front door. I know the lady. She has a wonderful history of civil rights and everything. And she was a journalist. And she never handled it. And he asked her what her question was. I have no idea what it was. It was something in education. And she said, that's not good enough. And I'm thinking, oh my God, because I was a candidate, this happened to me. So I'm talking, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Right.
My heart's pounding in my chest. Oh, this is so great. Please don't go. 9 Mississippis. He takes the microphone that I hold right here, puts it up, says something. I have no idea what it was because I'm still in shock. And she says, well, that's much better. And I stand up and take the microphone away from him. That's what I'm doing right here. So no one can ask anything more. But the crowd rushed up. And like I said, I just had charged like $1,000 for a photo lineup.
Right.
It was professional for your mantle. And he let everybody take photos. I have tons of photos because the photographer that I hired I said, stay for the event and just take as much as you want. And that was incredible. Other times people would just leave the room and not talk to the people or anything. And so I had a rule that anybody who I did a fundraiser for, anybody actually, they had to take questions from the audience. I actually had a couple people give me back questions. I said, if you can't, some of them are new and some of them are older. I said, if you can't answer questions, this is your family and these are donors. You owe it to them. You owe it to them. So it changed my whole atmosphere, not whole, but I just felt I stuck with that because everyone wanted to come to the house that Obama was at. So I had some credit there. But going back to the REI, people were in the second election in 2012. I served again on the National Finance Committee. Saw a lot of them in the background, got to meet Joe a number of times. It took a while for me to get used to him because pretty different type of style than Barack Obama was. have a tremendous amount, and very happy that his legacy is going to be preserved and probably go down better because he did leave his job and he passed the baton on to a wonderful vice president. We have to thank him for finding her and having her as the vice president. That hasn't been talked about yet, but he did bring her on, and this it would do for him. So, but the RI was is something that I've been practicing as on a personal level, and when you talk to people, sometimes you just want to strike out.
Now, REI stands for, I'm gonna have you clarify, because it's confusing to me.
Yep, write it down. I got a little
But you see it yourself out, yeah.
Respect and power. It's like the store. It's like the store REI. There's a
Right,
there's
that's
a-
very good, that's what I think it's a sports shop.
Yep, that's right. But it's respect, empower, include. And there are many times, like I said, in the book, you'll see I went to Indianapolis, which a lot of poor white. It was about 4 years after a lot of the steel was went up to China, and desperate people. There's a story in the book that if we have time, but I do want to use some time for questions for you as well. But it was really incredible. In Pittsburgh, we had dogs running after us, and people would not fix our van because they had an Obama sticker on it. People want to know who was paying for us because they said, "You talk funny." I said, "Yeah, we're from Wisconsin." Who paid for your gas? No one did. They could not believe that white people paid for it. And one of the people actually said that. It was very bizarre. And it was so different. Our country is so big. I just can't tell you. And God only knows how we're still living yet. The certain messages just always penetrate. But and then the same thing that happened in Indianapolis as well. It was my first National Finance Committee meeting, and we had a meeting at 7:30 in the morning. The next day after this beautiful reception of wonderful food, and actually Barack wasn't there yet, and getting to know each other. And there's only 100 people in that room for the morning because the wives didn't come and their friends didn't come to. That was for the previous reception that night. And so there were only 100 people. It was very bad. This is the time of Reverend Wright. Remember Reverend Wright? They brought him back twice, and really, and I was really, it was Valerie. No, it was Penny Pritzker that came in, and Penny Pritzker and Valerie Judge just didn't smell these. They were there, and so there were 8 of us. That was our first, and we had a session from 7:30 to 8 in orientation. And they did our homework on us. It was very interesting. And then at 8 o'clock, Valerie came in, Penny Pritzker came in and started doing her spiel. And like I said, I was very concerned. It was 100 people. Barely 100 people. I'm thinking, oh my God, good, because the primary was this week. And he started talking. He went down the line, we shook hands, and you remember our names. Do you remember me from April or from October? And he asked about my husband, the house, and everything else.
Yeah.
But and then another behind the scenes thing. It was Penny's birthday, and this is the height of craziness, and they were going to fail. David Puffer already coming and gave reports that it went like 10% up, and he said, "I'll be back in 20 minutes after we're on top." So. Here comes this lopsided homemade cake of chocolate and one candle with 1 or 2 candles. No one had no smoke, so they were right over. And Barack brings the cake in for her. We're all saying happy birthday, and she doesn't catch it right away. And she's at first kind of mad because this is business and you don't mess it. And then she realized it was her birthday. And she broke up. She had to leave the podium, took the cake back, and started singing. It just choked her up. You can tell she just got choked up. So it's those little things, those little human things, decency, respect, including people, and this just seeing this all happen, we got energy. The orientation of the meeting was over, and they said we need for you to go out and knock on doors. So here are guys in their Italian suits, beautiful cotton shirts, taking on to Celtic tires and going into the inner city to go and knock on doors. I thought, I am with my people. And I went out to a suburb, which again is in the book in Indianapolis. It was knocking on an all-black neighborhood. And the way it was set up was very good, and that changed my life working with Black women. And because when I walked in, they said, "Man," they looked at me and said, "Ma'am, are you in the right place?" I said, "Yeah, I am." And they said, and then she said, "Miss Gloria, please come in the front here." So it was, and that's again, it's another book on this older woman that again I think about a lot. So there's certain energy times that you all these experiences where you know that you're doing the right thing, that you know that you're doing the right, that you have purpose. And the best thing is just sleep really good. You sleep really, really well. Let's see. I think that of what I want you to get out of that is learning about REI. Like I said, I use that all the time. I get an inhale once in a while. I get in personal situations too. Say, Mary, just calm down. You gotta respect this person. Because if you don't show it, you don't get it. If you show anger, it comes back at you. And it's amazing. I've been studying people. I have some insights of J.D. Bass's talk if you want to hear him. But and I was in retail, and retail taught me to really every time somebody came into my small store, I wanted to know why they were there because at that time in 1968, I was 22 years old when I opened the store, by the way. People were stealing from me. People were going some tricks on me, and I could not. Like $9,500 that I thought put up was my sister's college, and also the 3 kids left in the family. That was college funds. So I felt I had to pay that back somehow, some way. So that's another promoting again your family, and that's so I like that pretty good. We have a good 25 minutes for Q&A, so and I can take anything you want.
It sounds to me like you got into this in a way that isn't clear yet.
Okay.
You know, you
Yes.
you got married and you
Oh,
had
no.
a shop in Madison or something. I'm
Oh,
not sure.
no, I had the shop first.
Yes, okay.
That's a good question. I had the shop 8 years before I got married.
Okay.
And so I had my own identity.
Mhm.
I had my own successes.
Mhm.
I was buying in New York City all the time as women's clothing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was a risk taker. Okay. But I've been told no so many times and in so many
You
ways.
couldn't even get a loan in '68, by the way.
Pardon me?
You couldn't get a loan on your own
Well,
name
that's
in
exactly right.
'68.
Yeah. I had no
People here
collateral.
might not know, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
I couldn't get a credit card.
that's right, you couldn't get
You
a
know,
credit card
I
in the
couldn't-
'70s.
Yeah. Well, I got one
What?
before that because
I mean-
the store was doing so well.
Okay, so they showed you, but anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
That makes
that's a
sense.
good point. I was young and I didn't go to college. We were I'm in Madison, everybody's at university, right? I was a second grade citizen. And that kind of showed up when I was running for mayor, actually. Because I was totally.
So you ran for mayor, did you win?
No, of course not.
Oh, no, that's what I
No,
wondered.
no,
Good for you,
that's
though.
why.
But you
Well,
learned.
Well, but that's why I'm doing this for Katrina and you're working for
Allison.
Allison. No, once you run for office, you really understand it's a huge impact because you see a whole other side of friends and family. It was just really I'm very sympathetic and just like Allison called us when I picked up and I wanted to give and I thanked her for running and everything. We had a good conversation. And it's
And she got your name through a channel.
Yep.
And then she knew me because we had worked together 10 years ago,
interesting.
where we're neighbors also, but anyway, so that's that I'm here.
Well, and every person counts. Every person counts. When I saw you coming in and you explained it, I thought, Allison is great. I gotta look at her.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. So this was kind of following, like I said, everybody has a purpose. And I just felt for some reason, because of the state of our country, and seeing my father go, he was a staunch Republican, and seeing how hurt he was the direction of our country. So I was feeling that it was really that he saved our England, Europe, and America in World War II. I felt that I could say, I thought it was my turn to save our country. And even though it was a small part, because my father had said, I was just a little, he never said that way, but he was a very small part of World War II. And many of our fathers and grandfathers.
My father was.
And they are so humble about it, right?
Oh my, but
You know?
I think the other significant thing is that I think we need to emphasize that the last 10 years in Wisconsin, Republicans have not been represented. When you start getting a group that is such narrow focus on what their party identifies as, the moderates are out of the picture. And they too have, and that's how your father felt when he saw George Bush in the uniform that he shouldn't have been in.
But he didn't know what was going on. I mean, my father died before all this happened.
Right, but the symbolism to him,
Yeah,
that's what I
absolutely.
just mean to say that.
Absolutely.
And his
Yep.
deepest heartfelt feelings have been tramped on.
Yep.
And that's how a lot of Republicans in Wisconsin feel, because they have not had a voice either. It isn't just Democrats, is what I need to say.
Yeah, I was on Biden's 2020 National Finance Committee as well. And we saw a lot of people who had voted for Trump. I mean, that was the first time. They voted for Trump and then boy, was they regretting it. And it was, but also I was criticized actually for bringing more people. Zorba was one of the reasons why Barack Obama won by 56% in a way, because he attracted the independents, just like you say, because he wasn't a political story. But another lesson to learn that I learned from Zorba is he never called it Obamacare. He always called it the ACA. And when he spoke, people just when I said Zorba, you all had a smile on your face, right? And you trusted him. So when a trusted person is delivering a message, people believe it more and they feel more comfortable to talk about it with other people. And again, I give so much credit to Zorba for bringing in that high percent, 56% for Wisconsin for Obama, because he brought that independent vote. And that's why I told people I was not anybody maybe who not Democrats in the room, because that's yeah. Did that answer your question?
Oh, yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it was just again feeling very strongly about my father's relationship. It is, I should tell, the book is dedicated to my father and the volunteers. It's on the second page. And to my father, who inspired me to do something unexpected for my country as he did. He was always clear about what was right and wrong and quietly acted on it. He lived and talked to me, leave your place just a little bit better than how you found it. And that little bit is what drives me, because in Madison, I taught at the university as well, and everybody had to do a big thing. And big is intimidating. It's too complicated, right? And I can't, he had these wonderful things, and for some reason they just stuck with me when he passed away. I remember that when my husband said, "That's what your father used to say." I said, "No, I know where it came from." And then the dedication is to the tens of thousands of volunteers, ordinary people for the love of their country, did extraordinary things during the past presidential elections. And that's all you folks. And that's like I said, the people in Dubuque, the people in Indianapolis, the people in Pittsburgh, there were 2 cars going down to Pittsburgh, 2 high school kids. And the first day they went out, they wanted to go together, right? 2 guys, 17 years old, they were going to write a story about their trip to Pittsburgh. Every single door they knocked on, they got the door slammed on their faces. And that night, they were so quiet, all there was 8 of us. And we were staying right in downtown, not downtown, but in the middle of Pittsburgh. And we had a sink this big for 8 people. We were on the floor with mattresses. We were in the back section. The Billy was so excited that he could give something for Obama. They had no money. And the people, when we told them the next morning where we were, they said, "You know, maybe we can put you in another place." I said, "No, we got to stay there because this is Billy's contribution." We wanted to include the REI. We wanted to keep them included. And as a sense of that, he became empowered. But again, was respecting seeing him and respecting his feelings and what he could do. And he knew that money was totally out of the question for Obama. So it's that REI just played out in so many different ways. So, yeah, it's. Any other questions? Yeah.
So, what you learned from working with Obama, can you, what would you say, what applies to Kamala?
Well, you know what? I don't know if I should say this, but I'm not. When she was in West Dallas in Milwaukee, and they were holding up her car saying, Kamala. I was in the other room and I came to my television and I was hearing, my subconscious was hearing Obama, Obama, Kamala, Kamala,
Sounded
Kamala, Obama. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So I think being black is something they share. Smart as whips, the heart's in the right position. I think I was telling you this, I just met, I was in the photo line with Kamala in Madison in February. This is crazy, but I'm in fashion, right? She's 5'4", okay? She's not a long, so if you, yeah,
she's kind of tiny.
yeah.
I didn't know.
This one was wearing stilettos, ladies.
She was.
Uh-huh.
When you see
She's
her,
always wearing
got
stilettos because you always seem kind of even with the
Yeah, I thought
guys.
she was tall, so.
No, me too.
Oh, and I hate
everything.
those shoes.
And
Poor
I-
thing.
Yeah, I almost listened to her. I thought, we have other things to talk about. So
Mhm.
she's very behind the scenes stories. And this is current. So this was I think the last week in February. So there were 75 clicks that called, and then she added more because all the security people wanted to have a picture with her. So you know, this is where she's standing, and there's a line going around, and there's a big curtain here. And this is the curtain. That's her. Okay. Then you go around. It was the second floor by the square. And so I'm standing here, there's a young fellow, maybe, I think his name was Aaron, and he was just shaking his boots. He was the president of the high school association, state high school association. I was talking to my, she's very nice and blah, 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 and talking about what he was doing. So, and then there were other people there, and she's talking, I could hear, because this is current, I could hear her talking to people, really engaging. So Aaron got up here, and he started walking, he completely lost his voice.
Couldn't talk at all. I just got nervous.
Yeah. And she walked, and she doesn't move, she stays in the same place, because that's security. And she starts talking to him and everything. And they call them advanced people, when there's somebody that they wanted to follow or something. And she chose her advanced person, she said, what's her name? I don't even know, but would you please get Aaron's information, because we've got this and this and this information that'll help him with his high school association. Again, respecting him, empowering him, and including him in. And I have not seen that happen very often, even to adults. Okay, which is really interesting. So it was. So when I came down and I said, "Oh my gosh, she's great," I said, "This is," because we only saw her with tough things with the border. She never had a chance to be friendly and kind and everything else. And when I saw her interacting with not only
Individual.
him, but the person behind him too, because somehow the person that was behind the scenes, I didn't know he was going to be there. I said, "Oh my God, Josh." So I was hanging around a little bit, and heard her talking, engaging, respecting everybody who came through there. And then again the heel, and then she went down and talked for another half an hour. So that's
She's a winner.
she's a winner. She's tough. She has a good sense of humor, and their style. I don't want to even put them together, but who she is, and she is the right person for the right time. The things that people criticize her for being too hard, too smart, a little bit aloof, they did it. I mean, we all know that.
Well, if I'm called her
A woman, black, right? And that's what we need to counter the incredible craziness of Trump. And now he doesn't want to do the debate, right? So September 22nd.
Yeah.
He's afraid.
Yeah, you got that right. The big bully, the big guy, the big macho man, the big guy who got, dodged the bullet, who got us on the side, right? Remember that one?
She
Yeah,
pointed
I
out, I know his type.
I like that.
Yeah, I know.
I love that
Foster's-
little.
Yeah, that share that with your friends. I just saw my daughter this morning hasn't seen all of it. I said, please, just every 26 minutes of it. Did that answer your question? Is that?
Yeah, yes, and do you think she has a chance? I just saw on the internet as I was leaving the house that men won't vote for her. What do you think?
That's not true. Can I show
No,
can I
that's
show some stats?
not true. I know a lot of men will vote for her.
Good.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's the Trump man don't vote for her at all. No.
Well, they would
No,
vote
of
for
course they.
her or
Pardon?
they wouldn't matter who it was, they wouldn't vote for her.
No,
The Democratic Party, right.
Oh, I see here. Yeah, I see what you're saying. The party. So. Yeah, but let me throw some numbers at you.
No, I think men will vote for her too, and I was surprised to see that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. When I was coming in this morning, I was listening some of the news things, but Heather Cox, which is, you all know about her, okay,
Yeah.
great. I was listening to Heather's July 25th podcast this morning. They're all like 2 minutes, which is great. But so first of all, to give you some perspective, in 2012, we had to fundraise $1 billion for Obama. $1 billion, okay? $1 billion. And we were very nervous because he had spent, he had some regulation on Wall Street and the bankers. In that first meeting in the end of February of 2012, there were hardly any of the bankers. And I thought, oh, the suits are off, and I thought, oh God, but the small, in 2008, the cumulative average donation by grassroots was $54. In 2012, it was 67. Now there's only $13. When you talk about millions, it didn't get us to the finish line, but it got us way past what we thought we would do. Because we thought, but I should say, the campaign thought that maybe those dollars would be less this time around because they thought they would take for granted that he would get them the second time because also everybody said, oh, the second time, no big deal, no big deal. It's harder to fundraise the second time than it was the first time for Obama. And I was petrified. So that's one thing. Within 24 hours, there were 58,000 volunteers signing up for Kamala. Yeah, for now. And in less than 18 hours, Act Blue is the main donation for the Democrats use. It was over $1 million. Now, and fast forward, and on Wednesday morning, it was $213 million. And not to get too crazy, but the Republicans are going to have out a lawsuit about the $100,000 that's already and that's not going to work. But they gotta release their anxiety somehow, right? Yeah. But if you think and that fundraising started in January, and it took to now to get $100 million, and she did it in 3 days for 200. And that's just one source. It's not the PACs. It's not Emily's List. It's not all these other judges. I mean,
have they sent out fundraising for her yet? Because I just got a Biden fundraiser. So,
you should have Biden fundraiser.
I know, but it just arrived in the mail
I had
yesterday.
15 on my cell phone yesterday,
Yeah.
last night, so
Oh,
yeah.
I have no idea. I'm getting surveys, same number. I live in Michigan.
You could
Don't do any of those, folks, because they take a certain percentage of processing fees out. Only do here. I'm doing a fundraiser right now for.
I'm pretty sure these are probably the survey like, are you going to vote for President Trump?
But that's
So
just
I'm
to
not
come on.
answering. I'm
You-
not
Well, maybe
answering.
yours are, but mine aren't.
Well, I don't need, these are just random. I keep
Right.
getting this.
I do too.
Yeah,
I've been
yeah,
getting.
yeah, they're all over it.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
you're
But
absolutely
they're
right.
the same
Do
phone
not-
number every time.
Yeah, please do not send anything to anybody except Emily's List, because that goes to go into the candidates, or where it says Biden and Harris.
Like I said, I have not received, I'm going to check with some of our Democrats up there, see, how come I'm getting a Biden fundraising thing, but I'm not getting anything yet from Harris?
Well, yeah, that doesn't make any sense because everything changed over on Thursday. And if you want to go and
Well, this
see.
might have been mailed out before
Well,
Thursday.
it was
Oh, it
mailed,
was a mail.
then you're,
mail.
that's
Yeah,
understandable.
it's mail. Oh, no, I'm
Yeah,
not getting
it'll
it.
stop.
Yeah.
I'm not
What
getting
about
phone
Act
calls.
Blue? Is Act Blue trustworthy?
Act's taking a percentage out actually.
Okay.
Because,
They actually ask you too, do you wanna pay $1 more or something?
But if you don't take it out, they take it out of your donation.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm saying only, I'm
Okay.
doing a fundraiser right now that's gonna be on Zoom with Heather Cox Richardson. And you can start at $25 and it goes up to like, $3,000, $5,000. If you want that, do a piece of paper and I can send that to you because I just sent out over 500 of them yesterday and the day,
Yeah.
and some this morning before I came.
Yeah.
out. Yeah. Because that goes directly in, there's a partnership with the DNC, the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah.
And that was the same partnership that Biden had. But if it was mailed, that's understandable.
I've wondered how much of this fundraising stuff for Trump actually goes into his pocket.
Well, they said it
I
goes
know.
first in his pocket. It does go in his pocket.
We've
first.
got, again, where I live, we've got these huge Trump flags people are buying. I'm thinking,
Are you in the UP?
yeah.
You're the people.
Yeah, we've got our U.S. representative is Louisiana Jack Bergman. He somehow established quote residency in UP
Oh.
while he was still serving on the school board in Louisiana. And he's a retired lieutenant general, so they play that up all the time. But he's been nothing but a rubber stamp.
Just on your email.
Okay, got it.
In Congress, he's been nothing but a rubber stamp for politicians.
Well, the South is different, and there's different mentality.
Well, yeah, but
He's
he's a
up north.
representative from the UP.
Yeah, but you said he's from the South, though, right? Louisiana, Jack.
Yeah. Well, they don't call him that. I refer to him that way.
Oh.
I don't think he's a resident. I think he was able to establish a legal residency in an area that
Anybody else want to put there?
he owns property, he owns a home. He went there a few times.
Mhm.
That's sort of like Eric Hunting.
Oh, he needs to, yeah, we're working on that.
They're carpetbaggers.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Well, good to know then. I know I will start getting stuff too.
Anybody else?
Want to put their email on here?
I'll send you the one that's going to directly to her.
No, okay, sounds good.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah,
It's kind
sure.
of
Out
I
there.
don't, out there, but, so how do you get a candidate to come to a small town? Like, is there any possibility? Like,
No,
No,
I mean,
okay.
I'd be really brave, like, I mean, that's why when John, why we go there, I mean,
yeah.
With Zorba.
well, in well, to tell you the truth, after he was in my house on October 7th, he never came back to Wisconsin. He was only in Wisconsin in April with Dan Cole, Senator Cole's nephew, in my house, and that was it, because it just shot up so fast. And in spite of in spite of some of these really quiet things that they always kept it in the background. But again, when in New York State, the day the headline was, this was like a week before, I was on a phone call, that they didn't think Obama was not going to go anywhere because he was 3 weeks, 23 points below Hillary. And they thought, no one knew about Bob Gibbs, no one knew about Ballinger, no one knew Barack Obama for that matter. So they just thought it's going to just be a matter of days that he was gone. And then he went to Buick. And I found out that I was one of the few people that did not cancel out in the month of October. And I didn't realize that until 8 months later, because a couple of people came up, they were, 2 glasses of wine, and everybody's loose as goose in the hand. And
It came out.
and it came up, and I didn't know that. And so, it was a very, I got to see him a lot because of this. Wisconsin was a small state. We were not the important swing state at the time either. And I knew I was in the middle of something great, something that was historical, but I never quite realized that they just are appreciative and hope he wins both times. And that, we were sitting around, this was in Washington, after one of the meetings, we met almost every 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And one of the guys, again afterwards, it's always after the dinner, main course, and they said, we can't let him down. He doesn't want to be a token president. And all of us just stopped at the dinner table and just swallowed that, just, digested it. And I know I went home and worked in the charter. Because we've all, I don't know, I've been a token woman on, on boards and everything else, and that's the worst insult you can do for somebody to keep them on that. So I think we all went back and really worked our hearts out so he can be a token president.
To follow up on Ann's question, how about one of the a known surrogate like Kamala's stepdaughter?
Or other people that surround her.
Yeah, who would you, the stepdaughters stepped up right away and said
Yeah,
that they
yeah.
love her and everything.
Yeah.
I will look into that. Okay?
I mean, even Eau Claire, you guys too. I mean,
I would
once
say
in a
Eau
while,
Claire.
they show up at the university. That's happened in the past.
Years ago, all the candidates came here with JFK, Jerry Brown. I don't know how many, over the years
Mhm. And we're close to the city, so they can
Yeah.
do,
Yep.
hit that market too.
Jesse Jackson.
Al Gore
stopped at the wayside with their bus.
Oh.
We're doing it cross country.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so-
Go to the
and they
wayside,
just let everybody
our $1 million
know.
waysides.
But 94 was.
Well, hey.
I don't wanna ruin your day with
Right.
the security, but.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Well,
new.
But let me just, change for like 2007, okay, 2007. The Secret Service came in, it was, there were people coming in like 2 days before, Secret Service came in the day before, did the whole house. I had a spaghetti dinner for the volunteers and for the Secret Service. And I came down the next morning, like Dan was classical with sunglasses, very cool, Navy SEAL. And we had a really good working relationship, teasing each other around. I came downstairs and said, hey, Dan, I said, what's all the commotion? There's like 3 times as many people in my house and outside the garden.
And
What's
I'm not
happening?
even,
So
yeah.
I made this terrible remark. I always regretted it. I said, I thought you guys had your freaking act together. He looks at me straight, takes his glasses. His glasses were off. Looking straight into me, he said, we had too many calls last night here. We had like double our security.
Too many calls about
This-
people being hurt.
No,
No.
attempts on Barack Obama.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they always call him the candidate. So, it was like a soccer punch, and he knew that I felt really stupid, and he said, inside my jacket, I could only show you all these things that we have to be prepared for. And then I said, what about this yellow thing by the photo op? It's kind of in the way, the one, but it's. And he said, he took me over. And he said, "You see this button over here? When we get the signal, this button will push in, and there's going to be a plastic covering for the candidate's head, and we're going to be seeing the Secret Service lined up from the photo op room to the garage. They have the car parked with the garage door open. No, it's not. The garage door actually is down in front of the beast, the big black cars.
So they have a plan of a way to get him out there without,
The car was parked facing the thing, and it never turned off. They kept it running. And this is when he's 23 points below Hillary, not thinking that there's going to be a U.S. And in Madison, Wisconsin, where I live, we never locked the doors at the time or anything. And it was such a reality check. I'm thinking, and people say, well, why doesn't Michelle run? That's why, because they jeopardized their family for 8 years, and 2 young children, and Michelle's mother. And the things that happened during those 4 years and 8 years were, some of them we've heard about. And
a lot of them we haven't. I'm sure it was horrible.
So that's the
What a
reason why they
Class C
don't-
family.
Well, and he crossed the street because there were people across the street. This was after the rally. And if you look at some of the pictures, there is pure panic on the Secret Service.
Oh, they're just,
When he just walked across the street. And that's why the good old days are old days. And the security right now is just so.
and
and it's
within the
gonna be
last
worse
couple
now
weeks,
because of what happened
yeah.
now. It's gonna be so tight.
It's not even-
So maybe, that's why I was kind of.
So it's,
Yeah.
is it gonna be more Zoom,
It,
campaigning and like so that you could?
well, you know what, they did a Zoom, this is another, to answer your question, there was another, because of, with the black community, black women, they had so many black women on the Zoom call, they blew up the Zoom, technology. They brought in $1.6 million, and then the black Zoom men, that they thought were not gonna show up very long, because the men, they didn't think they were gonna work for black women. Brought in
And they
1.2
did.
million. And it's all on Zoom, so that's a very good comment, and I think it might be because Heather Cox Richardson, when I had her in Madison in April, there was very little security, but she, oh God, they drove me nuts. The vetting of the facility and the hotel, I mean, it was pretty crazy. They were putting her, again, Heather Cox Richardson, who's nonpartisan. Okay, she never been just Biden's name or anything. She just talks about the history and everything else of what's happening. They treated her like she was a security risk. And I think they had to because the money was going for Biden's venture fund. And that was that shade of gray because she's on a sabbatical right now. And she told me, she said she can't say anything about candidates' names or specific people. But the security is just a different time. But it never hurts to ask, right?
So is that gonna make it, harder for fundraising or no?
Not
So much.
because these numbers like we just went through, in the history of fundraising, I've been told it's never even come close to that. it's never come even close to that. So I think no one saw the huge response of positiveness for somebody that they thought would be, it was a shock to everybody they have this type of response. And it says so many good things about our country. It says so many good things about our country. Yeah. You should be very proud. Would not take it for granted. It's not over till the fat lady sings, right?
I hate to do it, I have to stand.
Yeah.
I have to stand my back.
Oh, your
Yeah,
back is
that's
hurting.
fine, but
Do you have any other questions at all, or I'll stay around for a short time?
Yeah.
For your,
Yes,
just real quick,
Go
for your
ahead.
book, do we pay you or do we pay Al?
you can. I think you could take one of these. These are all signed, by the way, too. Okay.
oh, that's nice. Thank you, Mary.
Oh, no,
Thank
for
you,
coming.
Mary.
Yeah.
It was really nice. You,
And I just wanna let everyone know so that next week,
Yes.
Saturday at 3:30, we're having Sister Simone Campbell. And so she likes to have conversations around hope. So different viewpoints, she welcomes and she wants to have good conversations around hope. And then the week after, August 10th at 3, we're gonna get a demo of Final 5 voting. So I am not real clear on what that is, but I have a link so you can vote in the primary, and that will give us some data for the final 5. So, but thank you, Mary, so much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you for coming.
yeah.
Thank you for
Yeah.
being here. I'll let Allison know how well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm really